Hey guys, I want to remind you to get your spot for Undo Redo Retreat. It's happening April 12th and 13th at a beautiful home in Ogden Valley, Utah. Because you're unorganized and you're tired most days, like we all are, we need to disconnect with our life in order to reconnect to ourselves. It clears everything up when you just back up and take a look at it, and space is limited. So get on lifecoachalisa.com and just click save my spot and fill out the form, and I'll send you more information, and that gets your spot saved. And then once you read all the details, you can commit or not once you know everything about it. And Saturday morning at the end of March, grab your spouse or your best friend and go on a date in the morning at 9:45. I'll put the exact location in my social media. I've been invited to speak on toxicity, and I'll teach you the formula for healthy boundaries, what we allow ourselves to be around, and I'll also have a mini training on the importance of protecting ourselves. We'll be talking solutions, so bring whoever, your spouse or best friend, because you want to have conversations with them on a day-to-day basis that builds and expands your mind so you can start practicing on seeing more problem solving instead of continually complaining about the problems keeping us just kind of stuck in our misery, right? And if the morning doesn't work for you, you're in luck, because at 7 p.m. on March 23rd, I'm collaborating a fun slumber party style evening in West Haven, Utah, and I'm calling it Girls Just Want to Have Peace. Peace. So you've got to grab the most stressed out person you know and help them get there. And it's also a good excuse for you to come. We're going to have an amazing dessert. Who doesn't love dessert? But even better than that, you're going to learn many different ways to release worries, anxieties, and trauma, and how to manage. And we experience poor relationships, burdens, and trauma, and it doesn't leave us until we do something about it. It eventually shows up in our minds because we get stuck spinning the same story, and we cast ourselves as the victim to it. It shows up in our bodies as two different kinds of patterns. One of them is intense emotion that gets triggered easily, and the other one is physical pain. And our spirits suffer because everything else comes before us, right? So I have Caitlin, an equestrian healer, and Christy, a breathwork facilitator, that'll be there to ensure we hit every angle, so there's no doubt you're going to leave a fresh and relaxed version of yourself. Think about how many of us get our nails done and get facials. This hits your self-care on such a deeper level than all of those combined, because you can reuse what you learn and practice it and get better at it. But here I go about belonging. All right. And I might call it belong better or belong well, but how do you know whether you belong somewhere or not? Do you have places that you feel welcome and wanted, and other places that you turn into a chameleon? Why do we behave that way? We all have these situations that come up in our life. We find ourselves complaining that they don't accept us, and we feel as though they don't really choose us. They just tolerate us being there is all. Why don't you belong? Who says anyways? It's like we gave someone else the authority over whether we belong or not, but who was that? And then if you did give them authority, maybe you're not seeing their behavior line up with you being chosen. Did you assign your belonging to someone else's decision, or a group collectively, or a room or a location? Maybe you weren't voted in or called and invited like everybody else. But picture in your mind where you want to belong so badly. Where would you just love to belong, be a part of, and feel really connected to? Well, now I'm going to ask you to undo all that nonsense. And I want you to picture that group or environment that you would love to be, like, quote unquote, in on. All right? Belonging isn't given to us by someone else. Belonging can be influenced by those around us, but even then, we could think we're an outsider, and we could think we are the charity case. We could be sitting there and feel like we are the imposter. What if we're found out, or we're the cast out? So why are we so desperate to show up all the time when we don't believe we belong? Why do we want it so bad? Well, I have news for you that's really exciting, because we're the ones who get to decide. We're the boss. We decide whether or not we have an experience of belonging, no matter where we are. How do you feel when you believe your story about not belonging? Earlier, I asked you, how do you act? You'd be found holding yourself back, not really able to be yourself, thinking others don't hear you or don't want you there. Well, they don't get a chance to know the real you if you do that. And we're always going to think it's the place or the group, but it's us. We're taking it all wrong. We're being scared. But that's normal because inside of our brains, we all fear rejection. Nothing's gone wrong. It's just instinctual. When we're separated from the tribe, we die. Period. It's just an innate response. So just remember, you have a brain that thinks it's in danger. If you have any thoughts that are opposite of belonging, you're in danger. We don't allow ourselves to belong when we make up a story about it like that. You may say, well, Elisa, you don't understand. They don't listen to me, or they don't respond when I talk, or more than one person in that group has either walked away or began to talk over me. It happens all the time. They don't think I belong. Or I'm on the list just like everyone else, and they get the invite and the information and I don't. Maybe you just come across it and you can tell yourself, I'm being excluded. Okay, well, how do you feel when you tell yourself that story? Their actions and their thoughts are their own. It's none of your business, and it has nothing to do with you. They do what they do, and you get to decide if you belong there or not. Don't change your opinion about yourself. Don't look for things that are wrong with you. You'll eventually have a harder time liking yourself if you're doing it. What would you be doing differently there if you felt you did belong? What would I see you doing differently? Why do we behave differently? If it would totally be a different experience, we felt like we do belong when we're there. We'd be outgoing, we'd talk to everybody, we'd introduce ourselves. But why do you need to behave differently if you think you don't belong? Your thoughts will maybe something like this, like, I'm different than these people. I don't think they accept me. What if they don't like who I really am? I'm only here because I found out about it. They didn't really invite me. It's really important to our brains that others approve of us, because rejection equals certain death, remember? That's why we get all freaked out. Nothing's wrong. We just have a brain. And we may have to deal with its responses to our thoughts over and over and over. Maybe we just need permission to belong, okay? In that case, I grant you permission to belong wherever and with whoever, but I want you to listen to your inner nudges, because your inner self will speak to you. It's all about just ignoring your own doubt and your own insecurities to find your belonging, because it was never about the location or the people. You don't just get some invite and now you feel belonging. Remember, that can influence you, but it's not the deciding factor. You're the boss. You get to decide if you belong there or not. So listen to your inner self on that, okay? And be sure to never change yourself to be what you think they would like. That's not true to you. It was not what you are called to do if you trend away from your higher self in any way. Okay, you have a brain and it has two parts. One offers you fear, laziness, insecurity, and doubts, and doesn't even let you see your abilities. Train the other one, the deciding one, and create your own experience by choice. Agency gets you there. Choose that you belong. Make a decision that you belong. That's what being mindful is. And awareness. They call that changing your mindset all the time. And I don't love the word mindful or mindset. They're not my favorite words. But awareness, when you are out of alignment, is the only thing you need. And then redirection gets you back into it. And who did you think of while you were listening to this? Will you just share it with them? And leave me a review if any of this stuff on any of these episodes have helped you at all. It's how the heavens reach us is through each other. And help me find other people that need this. Let's align with a truer version, just a little more every day, our truer version of ourselves. A stronger, more practiced, deliberate version that can interrupt the natural man and keep us in freedom. so that we're able to have the most use of our agency possible. All right, stay empowered, my friends, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.